The average number of human hands is not two. Hey kids, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Uncle Frank, and that you are having a great day, and in today's video we're going to be covering some of the recent Pokemon news that's been coming out in the last few days now. I think it was Tuesday when this was announced. Anyway, we have confirmation of the next specialty sets in the Pokemon TCG, and you heard me right, it's sets with an S, because it's not one specialty set, it's two. Black Bolt and White Flare, I think, are the names. They are ETB only sets, which means there's no booster boxes for the sets. It's going to be ETBs and poster collections and maybe tins, I think. I don't recall the full announcement, but yeah, this is a dual set, the first of its kind for the TCG, which is really really something. Honestly, especially if you consider the sheer volume of cards that is going to be in these two sets combined, over 300, I think it was, combined with the fact that there's going to be a lot going on, not just the illustration rares and special illustration rares that you see in the sets, but the fact that this is a set based on Gen 5 Pokemon, Unova, the Unova region, Black and White, and it's going to be heavily focused on the Pokemon from the region. So not only is every Pokemon in the set going to have be from the Unova, but they're also going to be giving all of the Unova Pokemon illustration rare variants, as well as, I think, Master Ball variants. I think those are going to be in the set as well, which brings the total number of cards you can collect to astronomical territories. I'm not sure what the total card count is, but it's going to be huge. Absolutely huge. And for some Pokemon collectors, that's going to be really exciting. For others, it's going to be kind of daunting. But either way, this is kind of new territory for the TCG. We've never really had a dual set release before. We've had things like multiple different kinds of decks released at the same time, sets released really close to one another. But this is the first time that two sets have been kind of released concurrently with the intention that you would collect them together. And look, we've seen things like multiple Japanese sets being combined into one TCG set. We've seen cards split across sets that you'd have to collect. Like, what's a good example? There was Pikachu in base set and then Raichu in Jungle. I think that's a good example of you'd have to collect the lines through various sets. But yeah, this is the first time that a TCG release is just two side-by-side sets that are just kind of intended to be for lack of a better word, played like the Pokemon games, because that's how the Pokemon games are released. There's two versions of a standard generation Pokemon game that you'd have to choose which one you'd want to play. There'd be slight differences, exclusive Pokemon, story beat changes, etc. And this is the first time that that's kind of happened to the TCG. And I think it's going to be both very exciting and also a bit worrisome for a few reasons. One, the sheer volume of illustration rares in the set means one of two things is going to happen. Either A, the illustration rare pull rate is going to have to vastly change for these two sets to the point where it might be less exciting to open an illustration rare. Or B, which I think is more likely, knowing the Pokemon Company, they're not going to change the illustration rare pull rate, which means that any given illustration rare from a massive pool of illustration rares is going to be not only harder to acquire, but more expensive as a result. I think those are the only two outcomes I can really see for this dual set. Another interesting thing to think about, or I suppose another thing to worry about, is will this be the set where Pokemon's capacity to print capacity, Jesus, that was two words. I didn't need to extend that sentence. Is this the set where Pokemon's print capacity meets demand? Or is this going to be another set that is has not caught up to the market forces, has not caught up to the sheer volume of people trying to get as much Pokemon stuff as possible. And if it does meet market demand, then a few things could happen. If a few things could happen with the set based on a lot of variables, and I'm not going to go over all of them in this video because I don't know all of them, but some things that pop to mind is if the Pokemon Company has printed enough of the set where it's readily available, and the pull rates have changed to allow for easier access to these various illustration rares, which I assume is the special focus of the set, then we're going to reach a situation where people are less likely to spend hordes and hordes of dollars on this set because they would see it as more readily available. There's less hype, less FOMO going for it. And the cards are easier to access than your typical specialty set. And a few other things as well. If, however, print has not met demand and the pool rates have not changed for the illustration rares, then we could very easily see a situation that's maybe not as bad as Prismatic Evolutions, where you just couldn't get the product, but something similar to it, where it's going to be difficult to find in stores for a reasonable price. Maybe not impossible, maybe not nearly as difficult as Prismatic was, but you'd still see it as a challenge. And I don't know which one you guys would prefer, but I know that I personally would prefer somewhere in the middle where it's readily available and the pull rates are maybe not impossible, but not too easy. And it's not too easy to get an illustration rare, the highly desired illustration rares. And I've got a hair in my eye. Oh, it does not want to get out. I'd very much like this to be the set that finally catches up to Pokemon's US demand. I'd like to see ETBs readily available on store shelves. I'd like to see all these ancillary products. I think there's going to be a poster collection for these two sets. I'd like to see everything readily available and easy to access. Because I do think part of Pokemon's strength is the availability of the cards. And we can't have set after set after set come out where you just can't afford to buy an ETB. One of the cheaper products for the game in theory. So I'm really hoping that this is the set where the Pokemon Company has finally made things more available. Maybe not readily available as they were like a year and a half ago, but I'm hoping that they ramped up printing. Now, as for the set's collectability, I mean, Unova is... I don't think Unova is the most popular Pokemon setting. I don't think Gen 5 was the most popular generation. I think that was either 1, 3, or 4, depends on who you ask. For me, it's 3. For some of my friends, it's 1. So for other friends, it's Gen 4. But I do think Unova does have its diehard fans who are going to be really excited about a set that includes all the Unova Pokemon with their own illustration rare treatment, something that hasn't really been done for all of them to my knowledge. And I think there's also going to be a lot of excitement over the fact that this is a dual set. So what do I think is going to happen? I think there's going to be a lot of excitement on release weekend. And I think there's a loud car coming. A loud car going. I think that a lot of the excitement we're seeing now with Destined Rivals is going to maybe not increase, but kind of shift towards this high illustration rare set if the pull rates remain the same. And maybe not a lot of demand will go into these two sets, but I do think that there's going to be a lot of it. I think that the worst is yet to come for the Pokemon hype of 2025. But I think that the worst that's yet to come is Destined Rivals. I think Destined Rivals has been so hyped for so long because it's a Team Rocket set. It's got some really cool Pokemon. It's got Giovanni and his Mewtwo. It's got Cynthia cards. It's got all kinds of nice artwork in it. And I don't think that Unova is as hype as Team Rocket. Like a Team Rocket focused set is, in my opinion, something worth being excited over more than Unova set. So I'm hoping that I'm right and that Destined Rivals is the worst we're going to see in terms of product availability for Pokemon sets in 2025. And that what follows after the White Flare and Black Bolt sets, maybe not super cheap and, hyper discount bin prices, but I'm hoping that they are easier to get a hold of and that you're going to have accessibility return for in terms of sealed product for the Pokemon TCG. And that's really all I wanted to say today, kids. I hope you enjoyed this little sit down chat. If you did, leave a like, share, subscribe, all that jazz, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao.